Hello, it's Sandy again from Fairy Tale Daydreams for SpectrumNoir.com, and we're going to be looking today at a brand new product from Spectrum Noir, so new that we've only just had them to play with. So we're going to have a go with the Spectrum Noir Sparkles, brand new glitter brush pens, and they've got a really high quality brush on them. They come in either packs of 3, or in this case this is a 12 pack, so it comes in this really sturdy case, as you can see, and yours will be full because I took some out, but it then means that you can sit with it on your desk, so it's a really good way to store them. Keeps them all neat and tidy, and has your colours on the back. This is the spring summer set that we're going to be playing with today, and I've already sketched out some colours for you. So we're going to be using the soft jade, the moonstone just there, and the blue topaz. I'm hoping that the camera can see them sparkling. Should we yeah, got sparkle. And then we're going to be mixing them in with some of the Spectrum Aquas, because I'm going to use the watercolour card today. And we're probably going to be using the lime, the moss, the leaf green and the heather, depending on how I feel as we go along. So you may not be able to see the sparkle straight off. You may have to wait until I lift the piece of paper off the mat, but I'm hoping that you can see. Now the first thing you need to do is you need to give them a bit of a shake to wake up the glitters, and mix them equally within the fluid of the pen. You won't need to do lots of violent motions with them, just some nice easy ones so that you can get it running. When you first get these, you must make sure that you do that and squeeze them slightly to get them going. And they come with a yellow seal, but there will be full instructions with your pack. So I'm hoping now that you can see that shimmering. Yeah, you got that? So there we go. So you can see that shimmering on. Brilliant. Okay, so right, so now this is the soft jade, so we're going to go in with the soft jade, and I'm going to use it direct to, I've got a piece of A6 watercolour card, Crafter's Companion watercolour, as you know, that's the one I love using, and I've taped it down with just some low-tack masking tape, leaving so it's covering of about a centimetre. That makes it easier for me to sort out later. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just sweep mine across, because I'm making a rough landscape. So this is the hill in the middle, so we're getting lots and lots of sparkle. I'm just going to squeeze mine a little bit more. There you go. You can see now I've got all that intense glitter. You won't need to do that. I'm doing that because I want a large coverage, and I want it all over and nice and juicy, because I want to mix it in with the Spectrum Aquas. Okay, so there you go. But as you've seen, without squeezing, they are very juicy and will paint very nicely, as you can see. But I want a really intense. They are watercoloured, they are water based, so they mix with your Spectrum Aquas really well. So now I'm going to get some water and some kitchen towel. So I've got my flat brush, which you know by now is the one I love, and I'm just going to start bringing that out. So I'm just dispersing and spreading all that sparkle out around the edges. So we've now got a sparkly, very rough but sparkly start of our landscape. Okay, I'm leaving as much intense sparkle as I can in the middle, and then we're going to take the moss from our Spectrum Aquas, and we're going to run down the sides of our piece, and we're just going to start bringing that in with a damp brush. And I've got a tissue in my hand, so I'm just got some specks of dirt on there. Let's take that off. Oh, so some specks on my so we're just gonna, again, I'm gonna run that down. In fact, let's just pick it up off the board. So just run it down, and we'll bring that in so that we've got that darker colouring coming in from the sides. And then those of you who have followed my last landscaping, you just sort of have to bear with me, because this will all come together as I start to put in the rest of the landscape. As with most watercolour paintings, they do take a little bit of time to come through. So you're starting to disperse some of that sparkle and want it darker across the bottom, because that's our foreground. So we're going to focus in, and you'll see I'm going to come round in sort of a triangle now, and what I'm going to do is I'm just doing strokes across, just bringing the two colours together just with some little strokes. So hopefully you've got that. So we've gone with an intense sparkle in the centre, and then we've used our moss to bring down the sides. It's really hard to see with the masking tape, but we've gone down the sides, and then we've started to bring it up from the bottom, and then we just went in with our flat brush, and we just started to bring some of that colour across our landscape. Okay, right. So now we're going to go with our night sky. So we're going to go with some heather, which is a gorgeous bluey purple, and I'm going to put that across the top, and I'm going to put a little bit on my mat in case I need a bit more. I like getting the intense effect I'm going to use my slightly bigger flat brush. I like direct to paper to start with, because it lets me have that dark edge that I like playing with, and then go in and stipple that dark edge, and then we're just going to grab some more of that colour, and we're just going to come down with it so that we're fading out as we come down. Fade it out as we come down, and it will all make sense in a sec. Some more at the top, and fade it out as we come down to start meeting that green. Okay, and there we go. So there's the top of our sky, because I want it to be a little bit fantasy, and I promised I'd keep this video short. So I've now got the this blue topaz from the sparkles, and mine was already activated from when I was playing with it earlier. So, and I'm just going to come across, roughly across my the edge of my landscape, and just get a little bit going in there, and then I'm going to go back to my smaller of the flat brushes, which is already wet. So, and I'm just gonna start dragging that across. So we're dragging out the colour like we did before on our landscapes for snowy Christmas landscape. So we're getting that horizon of darker sparkle going on just there. There we go. So that's really intense shimmer, and then we're going to grab our other one of our blues, which is this one. It's Moonstone of the shimmers, of the sparkles rather, and I'm going to come in, and you'll see now that this is really just roughly taking it across nice, because I'm watercolouring with them. So I've got a nice damp brush, and I'm just going to start moving that around So we've got an intense colour, and then I'm going to start to wet my brush again, but start to now bring that out, only taking from the very top because I want to leave the intense shimmer, and just start bringing that up to meet with our purple. There we go. And hopefully that made sense. So we're going to go back in with our moonstone, and we're going to put it on the mat this time because I've already got the paper wet, so I don't want to go on top in case it picks up some of that water. Because these are a water-based formulation, you can't dip the end into water, because if you do it could upset, obviously it could be taken back up into the pen and affect the formulation of what you've got in your pen. So I've used it on the mat just to pick up a bit more of that sparkle. So we haven't got sparkle right at the top, and we've got sparkle coming down, and we've got this kind of stormy edge just along there, which is exactly what we want. Now I'm going to use my wet tissue that I've been wiping my paintbrush on, and I'm just going to go in and I'm just sort of dabbing the colour into the mat, really, just so I can get a different shaped edge. There you go, and that sort of puts our disruptions, which are our clouds coming across, just with our really damp thing. Okay, right, now we want to add some sort of disturbances down the front, just to start our quickly. And I'm going to go back with the soft jade green, and I'm going to put some, starting at where we said before we've got this sort of horizon line, so I'm just going to put some quick flicks, just to give it a little. This piece has dried, which is why I'm okay to go straight in. So I'm just going to do a couple of little flicks. Doesn't really matter. So you're just sort of disturbing, just to give it a little bit of life, just disturbing this background that we went over last time. You can do yours however you want to, and I'm going to go back in with the Moss Spectrum Aqua, because this is now dry here. So now I can go in and just put in some really rough grasses, and it really is just a flicking motion. So you sort of hold quite close to the end, and you flick up, letting the brush lift off as you go up, and you'll be able to see that you quite quickly and easily form. I'm going to be in a bit of a shadow trying to do this side, so just bear with me a sec. There we go. So very easily and quickly you can build up atmosphere here without having to buy stamps, or you could stamp on using any of the grass stamps that you may have. But I do like showing that you can, with just one set, really you can get that look without having to buy a ton of other stuff to go with the stuff. Sort of like that back to basics kind of thing going on. So there we go. So you can now see that I've got those sort of grassy bits going on, and come in a little bit, just so you've got a couple that aren't on the edge, and they're quite dark. They're in the moss. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go with our darker one. That was the moss. I'm going to go with our darker one, which is the leaf green. And again, we are working on a dry surface, just to add another colour into the gaps, and just come across so that we're just framing that picture so that hopefully it will show some atmosphere here. And it's really, there's no real skill, we really are just flicking, because I think that's, again, as I said, that's sort of what I wanted to achieve with sort of certainly the first few of these video tutorials that I do, is to sort of show that it doesn't need to be anything mega fancy that you buy, and you could do this with, you know, the freebies off your magazines. And that's exactly what I've got. I had a fairy stamp set from a magazine, so I'm just going to add now some background. So I use one of these sponge stamping plates because I've got real problems with my hands and gripping onto things, and this is VersaFine, because my archival ink pad, I've just checked, and it's not very juicy. So so we're going to go with the black, and then we're just going to go on the edges, and one that this gives me, so I haven't got to hold it and hover it, and we're going to hopefully get a full impression. Yeah, there you go. And we're just going to re-stamp a couple of times, coming in off an angle. There we go. Just re-stamp again over here. We'll come in like that. And you'll start to see that the colours that we put on underneath really are now showing that there's something behind these stamps. As I said, these were a magazine freebie, so there's no big purchases involved here. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to move it over slightly and do a second impression. So I've got a shaded one going on, and I will clean that in a sec. As you can see, I get black all over my board because of my hands, but it's just sort of showing that we all have the same problems. And so I'm going to put the fairy on. Again, you use whatever block you've got, and there are a lot of fairy stamps out there, so you choose whichever one is your particular favourite. So I'm just inking her up, and she's right in the foreground because I chose a really big fairy. That's why I chose this set of magazine freebies, because it shows how sparkly. So I'm just going to go over the top. So I want to I'm having her off to one side because I'm not big into centering, but I don't want her across the whole piece of paper. She's right in our foreground, and I want her coming off. So there we go. So I'm going to do that. And last time I stamped her in practice, she didn't have a head because I forgot to press down on her head. So we'll try not to do that. And hopefully, there you go. Almost. I almost got her. And the brilliant thing about this is that I can, because it's clear, I can line mine back up and get the bit I missed, hopefully. Almost. If I pressed the right bit, it would have gone. Trying to remember where the bit that missed was. It was sort of up around there. Let's try that. There you go. There, she's much better now. And I'll clean that off in a sec. So what we've got is we've now got our sky. We've got our landscape coming in. And because it is watercolour, now what we can do is we can, if there's bits that need watering down underneath where her wings are, because I've stamped her in a permanent ink, I can now go back in and manipulate any of this of the colour from the aqua markers and just take that out from behind her wings there, so that I've got that a little, there you go, that's better. Now her wings shine a little bit more. And now, because this is totally dry, I'm just going to dry off those wings a little bit more, because I don't want to go in with my sparkle until the wings are dry. I've got the clear from the set. You get 2 clears in both of the 12 sets, because obviously the clear may be the one that people use the most, because obviously you can go over the top of any other medium. I've already tried mine over Spectrum Noir markers, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And you'll probably be able to see there, you've got a really intense shimmer. No, it's not picking, the camera's just not picking it up. But so I'm going to go in and go over. Mine is dry. You must make sure that your watercolour paper is dry before you go over the top, so that you don't affect the formulation of your pen. So I'm just wiping it off onto my scrap piece of watercolour card, just to get any colour out that I may have picked up from the background, so that I don't contaminate my brush. And then I can just, using my dry bit, I can just take it back. I just got a little bit too far that way, so I just want to take it back off my fairy, and there we go. So now hopefully this isn't going to ruin my card as my bit of paper as I pull it back. I love revealing. I love this when you've got this nice clean edge. It really suits my my need for clean. And that is going to lift, which is always the way. There you go. That's always the way on video. It will always, always, always ruin. Lift off and get a bit that was a bit tackier. So I'm going nice and slow with my masking tape, because obviously this is still wet. You will wait until yours is dry, hopefully, before you lift off, so that it won't bleed onto your border. But hopefully you can see now that we've got shimmer, and it's a lot more intense on her wings and across this centre section where she's sending her shimmer out into the world first thing in the morning, because we've got our lovely purple and blue sky going on, ready for twilight. So what I'll do is I will get this up onto a card. I'm just going to mat it onto black, and then onto a 6x4.5 card base, and I will put this in the picture underneath when I put my list of colours. So hopefully you've enjoyed that quick little demo about landscaping, using the new Spectrum Noir Sparkle Pens, this really intense glitter with that absolutely gorgeous brush. So there we go, and I will see you next time. This has been Sandy for Spectrum.